See what you could do when you stop focusing so much on big box office numbers and you start focusing on horribly abusive relationships and potential OCD? Wait.
My big strong man, I love you.
Look, you know how sometimes we get one of those Oscar-y films, it's got like a big powerhouse performance, like one leading performance, usually by a female, that just rocks it, and you're thinking, well, yeah, that was good, but one good performance doesn't make me love a film automatically. You get it. The Smashing Machine stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt as UFC fighter Mark Kerr and his girlfriend Dawn, set in 1999 when he was mostly fighting in Japan with pride instead of in the UFC. Okay, so immediately let's just take the UFC out of the UFC film, pretty much. Yeah, okay, that's but it's fine because we still get to see him fighting in Pride, somewhat, a little bit, not that much. Yeah, no, mostly instead we're gonna focus on. Wait, what is this film about? Mostly about The Rock trying to win an Oscar. Yeah, physical transformation, check. Playing a real life person, check. Has a trajectory in their life that kind of vaguely goes up, down, up, check. The down part is because of just general, like, substance abuse or addiction? Check. Somebody wrote The Rock, like, a guide on how to win Oscar, and he just followed it, and it's not going to work. My problems, because I have a few, I mean, I didn't dislike this, but I'm not finding anything to rave about with it. Yes, The Rock does a good performance, I didn't think it was a great one, I'm not of the mind suddenly that he is some sort of, he's got these hidden depths and is some sort of auteur actor waiting to be unleashed, no. Nothing like that. But he was good. It was fine, okay? Emily Blunt is great in it, but her character, this Dawn character, I mean, she felt like it felt like they weren't trying to dig into her character at all, to the reasons behind what happens and what she does and her actions. Instead, it just felt like it was painting her as this one-dimensional villainous kind of figure in his life. And the focus of it felt, as a film, the main focus, more than fighting, more than his own struggles with substance abuse, the main thing was their relationship and how bad it was and how toxic it was and how bordering on, like, emotionally abusive it was. And and I just couldn't believe the end credits. What it tells you, you know, in a true story film, how it goes on and tells you about what really happened next. I couldn't fathom what I was reading in the cinema after seeing this film and the film they'd chosen to make and what they'd chosen to focus on. You know, parts of it, a lot about the fighting is quite interesting. These two work well together as actors and bouncing off each other, they have interesting moments. But in general, this is a pretty, uncomfortable film to watch a lot of. It sold itself as being about topics which it just keeps meandering away from. I mean, there's this whole sequence, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's this whole sequence near the end of the film where they kind of bring up the fact that Mark Kerr is not like a well-known figure nowadays, despite having been one of the pioneers of the UFC sport. And I was just shocked at that because they couldn't even make a whole film about him fighting and about his career and about how he helped be a pioneer of the sport, because what you see in the film itself is like, okay, yeah, he did the sport. I don't see a lot about how he was this huge figure within it, frankly. I'm a little bit like, he seems like a bit of a middle of the road, like, fighter overall, from what we see in the film itself, and that's just very confusing to me, again. But it also feels hypocritical that they chose to just meander around so much, not at all to do with his career, in a film where their big point near the end seems to be, see, you should know him for what he did in the sport. Even the film doesn't know him for what he did in the sport. I just don't know with this one. I quite liked a few elements of it, but I don't know if I'm interested in a rewatch at any point. I feel like there is a UFC Origins film to be told, focusing on a few of these different guys like him as it goes. This isn't that. It's not even trying to be that. There is also a film to be told about this kind of big man who was trapped in this nasty, abusive relationship, and how emotional abuse can be such a different thing to, like, physical abuse. I feel like there's a film in that, and this isn't really that either, and that's because, well, the subject material just doesn't work out for telling a story that works for that at all, and I feel like it is just sending mixed and bad messages But as a film, with acting performances, the script is generally fine. A lot about it works too. So I'm giving just the one time where you probably could just watch the documentary over the actual film, 3 stars. I mean, isn't it interesting that Mark Kerr originally, before he got into doing all this, wanted to be in the WWE? So, the guy playing him in the movie is the guy who, at the time of this movie, where it's set, had the life he wanted. Okay.